creates the opportunity for nuggets to potentially fall out. This really is a great example. The water pressure is going to be very high. The higher the water pressure, the less likely the gold is going to fall out. Imagine during a flood time, you know, several feet of water. You can kind of see how it's wide here. The creek is wide. That ultimately makes it a low pressure scenario. And then as we move up the creek, we've got this boulder and this pretty big boulder that haven't moved for a while. And there's a narrow little slot between them. And so that's creating a high pressure system. And you gotta imagine, you know, during flood time, when the water's like, you know, 3 or 4 feet deeper than it is now, that the water's really racing through this spot with high pressure. And anybody who knows about how gold settles out in a sluice box, it's the same principle as far as how the creek works. If you've got a high pressure system, the gold's not going to settle out nearly as much. I'm not saying it doesn't settle out, but not nearly as much as it does as it opens up, fans out into this wider area. So our guess is that the gold is going to do one of two things: dissipate and not be as much gold in this high pressure system, and or the only gold that stays in a high pressure system is larger pieces. So we may be getting into nuggets, we don't know. One way to find out, but we're working on making our call on whether to proceed forward or to start prospecting up creek for a different location. This really is a great example of the creek is rather wide up here, and then it bottlenecks down to right here where it gets narrow. It goes from, you know, like 50 feet wide down to like 15 feet wide right here. And so imagine during a flood time, you know, several feet of water coming down the creek and getting to this bottleneck here. The water pressure is going to be really high, and as it continues through this slot, it actually gets even tighter between this boulder here and this boulder and this bank. So right in there, the water pressure is going to be at its greatest level in theory. And so the higher the water pressure, the less likely the gold is going to fall out. So as far as the smaller pieces of gold in here, you know, the likelihood of them continuing on through is there. Obviously that creates the opportunity for nuggets to potentially fall out right here, the bigger pieces. But you can clearly see down to about this point right here that the high pressure changes into a lower pressure and the creek widens back out again. And that's exactly where we found some decent gold. Not big pieces, but numerous smaller chunks. And that's what we're, that's the gamble. That's what we're trying to figure out here. Is it going to be worth dredging this section through here if there's a minimal amount of smaller gold with only the relative potential, theoretical potential of finding bigger pieces. All right, today's the day the pay streak may peter out.
It's right, and you know we know it's not going to go on forever, but we're getting close to the head of the pool. The bedrock almost looks like it was going downhill, and the pay streak was thinner. But we do have some more area we kind of blocked out. We've worked up the middle, and so we have this area to the right here against the bank. We're going to keep going. And we did go up some hundreds of feet upstream. We looked at the next couple of pools. We picked out some spots that we could work on next, you know. So we're planning ahead.
Why don't you tell me how the pay streak went from like a foot or foot and a half deep down to a couple inches now?
Yes, I can see the pay streak, but it's only about this thick. But it's a nice hard packed orange, so it's got gold in it. But that's our feeling that it's going to be getting thinner and thinner here. There might be some little patches or little holes, scour holes that have been filled up with it. We'll find out.
So the pay layer continues to get thinner and thinner. It was like a foot and a half plus deep, and now it's down to a couple inches. That kind of leads us to believe that it's tapering out. As we're moving upstream here, we're moving into this pool right below a riffle. And oftentimes, the drop off behind a riffle sometimes can be a scour out, meaning that the pay layer, the pack, or the buildup of consecutive seasons doesn't, the gravel at the bottom doesn't stick around throughout the seasons. It gets blown out and replaced often. And so ultimately the gold gets blown out with it too. So oftentimes these pools don't hold as much gold as it would be down lower where it kind of settles out. So we're going to find out here today. We've got pack layer, the pay goes away, dissipates into nothing, turns into a blowout. And then after that, if that's the case, we're going to have to start picking out our spot and our approach on how we're going to move upstream to the next set of riffles or beyond. Got the jam up!
Not up there, it's not up there. There it is. I held up to the light, I could see the rock in there. Ah, it's loose now. Maybe it'll come out the front end. Ah. Yeah, I saw that one go up. We're trying to get it. All right. By the way, I did see some nice little small pickers on bedrock. The sunlight broke down and hit the one spot just as I was cleaning it, and I can see them sit there. So that's good. We'll get a good cleanup.
There we go. Yeah. Well done.
Let's go.
Well, he's just about got the hole squared up. Been a good run this morning. Yeah, good run.
I got a lot done.
Yeah,
Started right in here.
You got it squared up.
You know, back over here, it's not cleaned out the bedrock. We'll wait till
Yeah, that was a good tank of gas. That was a good 2-hour run. Okay.
Well, it's mostly taken off overburden, and there's some gold in it.
We're not showing much in the box. So in the past, after 2-hour runs, we showed a little bit more gold.
Yeah, we've been cleaning up more of the bedrock, and we're in the packed material.
Yeah, so it's at this point, you know, from a quick analysis here, which isn't too scientific, just looking around here. But we're not showing as much as we have in the past. So maybe we're, I don't know, maybe it is petering out a little bit.
It seems it's getting narrower too, you know, so, you know, we knew this was going to happen, and so we got to start thinking about moving upstream. You know, eventually we'll finish up this, and maybe another day or two, you know, we'll be done here. So then we got to think about, well, we're going to move it up there, and we'll talk it out. We'll go up there and talk about the different turns and corners and boulder piles. And you pointed out that one blowout spot. I know that I was looking at, and I think you're right. I think we should avoid that one. Okay. Well, it's always good to know that there's more territory to cover.
What's the pay looking like?
Well, we're getting into this big pack here, and I see waterlogged sticks down at the bottom, so it's hard to say. There's not too much hard pack. Of course, I think there might be some nuggets along here. You know, let's hope.
You've had enough?
I think it's fine. I've had enough. Yeah.
Okay. Sounds good.
I'm not particularly cold. I just get tired.
No, you've had a good run. You've done almost 2 tanks of gas.
And we got a good spot to leave off here.
Well, it's not terrible.
So we got some heavies.
A little bit.
Well, it goes along with our theory that we're getting more heavy gold as we get towards the end of the pay streak, you know, and